Not everyone who enters your life was sent by God. Some people arrive as distractions, detours, or delays. And if you're seeing these signs, it may be God whispering, it's time to release them. 1. Confusion replaces peace. One of the first indicators is constant inner turmoil. God is not the author of chaos. He is the giver of peace. If every time you interact with someone you feel drained, anxious, or unsettled, that's not from Him. 1 Corinthians chapter 14:33 reminds us that God brings peace, not disorder. When someone's presence consistently disturbs your spirit, that unrest may be the answer to the prayer you've been praying. The enemy uses people to distract you. God uses discernment to protect you. Pay attention to the atmosphere of your soul around them. 2. The relationship becomes a burden instead of a blessing. When God begins to remove someone, the connection often starts feeling like a heavy weight. Instead of strengthening you, they drain you. Instead of pushing you toward God, they subtly pull you away. Jesus said in Matthew 11:30 that His yoke is easy and His burden is light. If someone's presence constantly feels heavy, exhausting, or chaotic, that's not alignment, it's a warning. Some burdens aren't emotional, they're spiritual. And God may be saying, put this down before it breaks you. 3. Your spirit feels unsettled around them. You can't always explain it. Nothing is wrong on paper, but something doesn't sit right. That inner tension is often the Holy Spirit nudging you. John 16:13 says, "The Spirit leads us into truth, not confusion." When your spirit repeatedly feels restless, uneasy, or stirred around someone, don't brush it off. What you call discomfort may actually be divine protection. 4. They pull you away from your purpose. One of the clearest signs is when someone consistently distracts you from God, your calling, or your growth. Maybe they encourage compromise, fuel temptation, or keep you so preoccupied that your spiritual focus weakens. Galatians 5:7 asks, "Who cut in on you?" When the wrong people are near, your prayer life slips, your hunger for God dims, and your priorities drift. That's not coincidence, that's spiritual warfare. God removes distractions so you can run freely toward Him. 5. Rejection keeps showing up. Sometimes the clearest sign that a chapter is done is when nothing works anymore. Plans fall apart. Communication fades. Doors close. That's not always bad luck. Sometimes it's God's mercy. Revelation 3:7 says that what God shuts, no one can open. Rejection often becomes redirection. It hurts at first, but later you realize God was clearing the path so the right blessings could reach you. 6. God keeps sending you warnings, red flags, dreams, advice from people who love you, a stirring in your spirit that won't go away. Proverbs 29:1 warns about ignoring repeated correction. Eventually, it leads to unnecessary damage. God is gentle, but He is also clear. When the same warnings keep surfacing, He's trying to protect you long before the consequences arrive. The more you ignore them, the louder they become. 7. Your growth stalls when they're near. If someone is blocking spiritual, emotional, or even practical progress, pay attention. Some people aren't bad, they're just not meant to go where God is taking you. Hebrews 12:1 tells us to throw off everything that hinders. Sometimes the hindrance isn't a habit, it's a person. If being around them keeps you cycling through the same struggles, repeating the same patterns, or losing the progress God gave you, it may be a sign your destiny requires distance. 8. Peace returns when they leave. One of the strongest confirmations that God was removing someone is the peace that follows their absence. At first it may sting, but soon the heaviness lifts and your spirit breathes again. Philippians 4:7 says, God's peace guards your heart and mind. If your mind feels clearer, your spirit lighter, and your focus sharper once they're gone, that's not coincidence, that's confirmation. God removes to restore, He separates to protect. Here's the truth. Not everyone who enters your life was sent by God. And when He begins to remove someone, it's never punishment, it's protection. The real question is, will you keep holding on to what God is trying to take away? Or will you trust Him enough to release what was never meant to stay? Because often your greatest breakthrough waits on the other side of letting go. If this message spoke to you, drop trust in the comments as your declaration that you're ready to align with God's will. And don't forget to subscribe for more faith-filled messages that keep your heart anchored in His purpose.